Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, as promised, I bring you the continuation of the story about Tusan, the gentle, resilient girl whose every turning point seems to tug at the hearts of everyone watching. In the previous episode, after many days of uneasiness, when each morning showed San looking paler and more exhausted, Hai could no longer hide his fear. He took her to the hospital immediately, hoping to understand what was happening to the woman he loved more than anything. Throughout the drive, Hai held her hand tightly, filled with worry and dread, while San tried to stay calm despite feeling so weak that even a light breeze could have made her collapse. And then, something miraculous happened. When the doctor smiled, placed the test results on the table, and gently announced that Tusan was pregnant, the world seemed to freeze for a moment. Hai stood motionless, eyes wide with shock and overwhelming joy. A few seconds later, he pulled her into his arms, holding her as tightly as if he feared she might disappear the moment he let go. His voice trembled with emotion, and his eyes reddened. The happiness was so immense that he could barely speak. As for Tusan, after days filled with fatigue and fear, she finally allowed herself a smile. A small, tender smile that carried a warmth capable of softening any heart. It was the smile of someone who had just found new hope, fragile, sacred hope growing quietly inside her. That night, Hai barely slept. He could not bring himself to look away from her even for a moment. He touched her forehead to check her temperature, asked whether she felt better, placed water beside her bed, opened the window when the room felt stuffy, closed it when he worried she might get cold. Every gesture carried a depth of love that even San herself had never imagined she would receive. In that little room, the soft yellow light cast gentle shadows over their faces. San lay on her side, hand placed over her belly, eyes filled with both contemplation and hope. Hai sat beside her, his hand resting on hers, light, yet steady, as if silently promising that he would protect both her and the baby with everything he had. A small family was forming. A new chapter was beginning. And that moment, the moment they both realized they were stepping into a different part of their lives, was one of the most beautiful, sacred moments for Hai and Tusan. The next morning, when the sky was shifting from deep blue to pale gold, Hai woke earlier than usual. An entire night filled with excitement blended with worry had left him unable to sleep. He paced back and forth in the room, looking at Tusan sleeping peacefully, his heart overflowing with a joy he could barely describe. As soon as the first ray of sunlight slipped through the door frame, he didn't hesitate. He immediately reached for his phone and called his mother. "Mom. San is pregnant." His voice trembled slightly, as if he wanted to whisper the sacred news to protect its tenderness, yet also wanted to shout it so the whole world could feel the happiness bursting inside him. There was silence on the other end for just 1 second. Only one, but to Hai, it felt as long as a lifetime. Then his mother's voice came through, choked and trembling as though she was about to cry. "Are you serious? Oh my goodness. I am finally going to have a grandchild. Bring San here right away, right now." Hai couldn't help but laugh. Her reaction, raw, emotional, full of warmth, filled him with a deep sense of comfort. He knew she loved him dearly, but he also knew she had longed for a grandchild for so many years. And now, that quiet wish had come true, making her so happy she could barely contain herself. Hai turned to look at Tusan, who was quietly eating breakfast. The soft morning light fell on her slender shoulders, making her face look even gentler and calmer. Just that simple image was enough to overwhelm him with affection, a deep, aching tenderness filled with the desire to protect her, cherish her, and give her everything good in his life. That afternoon, Hai took Tusan to his mother's house, just as she had asked. The familiar road suddenly felt different. To Hai, it was the road of a man walking with pride, the pride of someone about to become a father. To Tusan, It was a path that made her both nervous and shy, for she still wasn't used to being loved and valued so deeply. The moment the car stopped in front of the gate, Hai's mother hurried outside. Her eyes glowed with emotion and affection. Without even waiting for Hai to help, she reached for San's hand and held it tightly, as if afraid San might slip away. "San, you must have been through so much. From now on, let me and Hai take care of you, all right?" Her voice was filled with tenderness and sorrow, as though she could see every hardship San had faced before becoming part of their family. Her hand was warmer than any warmth San had ever known. Just that touch alone was enough to make her eyes sting. She lowered her head slightly, pressing her lips together to keep her emotions from overflowing, because in her life, never, not once, had she been cared for with such gentleness. Inside the house, Hai's mother had already prepared milk, fruit, and a bowl of nutritious porridge. She asked about every detail of San's rest, appetite, and sleep, just as a mother would care for her own daughter. She moved around happily, glancing at San with loving eyes, and even Hai, watching from the side, felt a warmth spreading through his chest. The atmosphere in the house that day was soft and heartwarming, so much so that Tusan felt as if she had belonged there for a long time, even though this was only the first afternoon she entered the home not just as herself, but as a woman who was about to become a mother. After a warm and intimate conversation, when the atmosphere in the room had finally settled into a comfortable quiet, Hai's mother suddenly stood up. Her movement was so firm and decisive that it startled Tusan. "Come," she said in a gentle yet unmistakably determined tone. "I want to take you somewhere." San froze for a second, her fingers tightening nervously. She turned to Hai in confusion, as if searching for an explanation. Hai let out a soft, knowing laugh, the kind that made it clear he already understood what was about to happen. "Go with Mom," he said, reassuring her as he took her hand. "It's all right." During the drive, Tusan could not stop worrying. With each turn onto a new street, her heartbeat seemed to quicken just a little more. In her entire life, she had never been cared for to this extent, let alone taken somewhere solely to be given something. Everything happening to her felt too fast, too big, too precious for someone like her. Meanwhile, Hai's mother sat in the front, looking out of the window with a faint smile on her lips, the kind of expression that revealed she was just as excited and eager as Hai. At last, the car stopped in front of a newly built luxury building in the heart of the city. The glass exterior reflected sunlight so brightly that San had to squint her eyes. Her anxiety grew even stronger. She had no idea why Hai's mother would bring her to a place this grand. The elevator chimed softly as it opened. They stepped into a well-lit hallway, filled with the pleasant scent of fresh wood and new paint. Then the door of the model apartment swung open. A spacious, beautifully designed apartment appeared before them, bright, airy, and perfectly arranged. The large balcony overlooked a lush green park. The minimalist kitchen felt both modern and cozy. The bedroom was peaceful, with a wide window welcoming natural light, the perfect space for a pregnant woman. Standing at the entrance, San dared not step too far inside, as if afraid she might somehow dirty the spotless floors. Hai's mother walked in without hesitation, took a slow tour of the apartment, and finally turned around, her eyes warm as she gestured toward the space. "I want to buy this apartment for the two of you," she said gently, each word filled with certainty. "So San can rest comfortably and safely during her pregnancy. From now on, you are family." That sentence, simple, but full of affection, fell into San's heart like a drop of warm water on a cold winter day. She stood frozen, feeling as though her feet were no longer touching the ground. Those words echoed in her mind again and again, "You are family." Someone like her, being considered family? Her throat tightened. Her heart softened. Her eyes stung. For so many years, she had never imagined that anyone would accept her with such sincerity and generosity. The dreams she once had did not compare to even a fraction of this moment. Hai stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder to steady her. His voice was soft, like a comforting breeze. Go ahead and accept it. It is from her heart. He did not say it to pressure her, but to protect her, to let her know he understood her feelings. He knew she would feel overwhelmed, but he also knew his mother acted out of pure love. San looked around the apartment again, not to evaluate anything, but to convince herself that all of this was truly happening. A deep mix of gratitude and disbelief spread through her, leaving her speechless as she stood quietly, letting her heart absorb the warmth enveloping her. Tusan stood in the sunlit apartment, overwhelmed to the point where breathing felt difficult. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice, though her eyes had already begun to well with tears. Every word Hai's mother had spoken still echoed in her mind, warm, sincere, and powerful enough to melt the heart of someone who had spent her life enduring more than receiving. She gently shook her head. Her voice was soft, trembling slightly, yet filled with gratitude and the quiet hesitation of someone unaccustomed to being loved too much. Mom. I really cannot accept this. Ever since I met Hai, and now being loved like this by you, I am already truly happy. I don't need anything more. When she finished, she lowered her head. Her hands clasped together so tightly that her knuckles turned pale, as if she were trying to hold back the flood of emotions rising within her. This was not refusal out of pride, it was humility from the heart of a girl who feared she might one day take too much, feared becoming a burden to anyone. Hai's mother looked at her in silence. It was not a look of disappointment. Not a look of frustration. Not a look of insistence. It was a gaze filled only with tenderness, empathy, and genuine respect. You sweet child, Hai's mother exhaled softly, not in sadness, but in affection. Living so sincerely, it makes me treasure you even more. But remember this home will always be open to you. Her words wrapped around Tusan like an invisible embrace, pulling her into a place she never believed she would belong. A family. A home. A place where she was welcomed without condition. Hai stood beside her and gently squeezed her hand. His eyes shone with pride, as if her happiness was the most precious thing he had ever received in life. He did not speak, but he did not need to. That gentle squeeze said everything, that he was here, steady and warm, always keeping her at the center of his world. That afternoon, the three of them left the model apartment. None of them spoke much. None of them laid bare all their thoughts. None of them tried to break the calm silence inside the car. But the faint smiles on their lips, subtle yet meaningful, said everything. They were the smiles of people who had truly found happiness. A new family was beginning to form, not through wealth or gifts, but through sincerity, compassion, and understanding. When the car stopped in front of the house, Tusan stepped out slowly, still holding Hai's hand. Her heart was a whirl of emotions, surprise, gratitude, joy, and even a faint, nameless unease. Because never in her entire life had she been loved this much. But none of them knew. Peace is sometimes only a brief moment before the storm. In the days ahead, an unexpected visitor would arrive, someone no one had anticipated. And this person was not coming to offer congratulations. Their appearance would shake the peaceful life Hai and Tusan had just begun to build, in ways neither of them could ever imagine. What will happen next? Can this small, fragile happiness withstand what is coming? The next episode will reveal everything. Stay tuned tomorrow.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người, lại là mình đây, mình đang làm video. cảm ơn mọi người rất là nhiều vì đã luôn ủng hộ và theo dõi video của mình nha. Tạm biệt mọi người, hẹn gặp lại mọi người trong những video tiếp theo.